I always know Nick's hard up for speakers because I get a call because I very rarely keep to time and I wander about a lot. So really sorry you're going to get messed up today. And if any of you was expecting lunch any time before 2, I sort of apologise as well. My name's John Milbourne. I'm an Essex boy, so I actually work for Arrow Council as opposed to Harrow Council. And I actually grew up in Southend. So the great thing about Leicester City winning the Premier League, it sort of makes me think that within 10 years, that will be Southend United. So special hello to Cheryl, who I used to work with at a company called Marsh a few years ago. So, hi. I'm quite easily distracted as well. So just to own up a bit, my actual presentation wasn't called Keep Calm and Channel Shift. It was a slide that I was just putting some slides together and I forgot to put a title. So when I came in this morning and saw this was the name of my presentation, I thought I might have to change some of the wordings. Is there any way to make it fit on there a bit better or?
No.
No, okay.
Sorry.
So, is it not F3?
Oh.
Yeah, so head of IT, we've not got any ITs. Here we go. What's this? Hang on.
Does that help? Yeah.
Put it back a bit, keep talking. So, at Harrow Council, customer services really is the front door to the council. We sort of manage the demand for all 761 different services that London Borough of Harrow offers to residents, and we offer that across most channels where possible. The only one exception being child protection, but that service does sit on our telephone platform because we realised that social workers weren't very good at picking up and answering the telephone. So we did actually sit them on our call centre system to make sure we could keep a better idea, a closer eye on what they do. A few years ago, probably about 3 years ago, our life changed, and I'm sure it did for quite a few of us. There was a guy called Pickles, I'm sure some of you would have heard of him, and he made our life a bit more difficult because generally in local authority our life was quite easy. We were awash with money, we could do anything, anytime. We all had luxury boats, a bit like Philip Green at British Home Stores. So he decided to start cutting our funding somewhat. And in terms of Harrow, from 2015-16, our budget over 4 years was being cut by £83 million. So we could more or less afford to lose someone like Gareth Bale. What it meant for us as a council was we were losing 60% of our controllable budget. So we had to work in a very, very different way. And that meant making some difficult choices. Customer service being one of them. So over the last couple of years, we've changed it a lot. So coming in terms of that digital story, in terms of making people work and react and deal with the council in a different way, we've had to make that happen. And over the last couple of years, actually telephony is down by about 22%. Face-to-face contact is nearly down by 80%. And to sort of support that, to make that happen, we do a lot of work with Gandlake at the back. We have a My Harrow account. Actually, logins have risen over the last couple of years by close to 100%. So every year at the moment, every month at the moment, close to 30,000 people log in monthly. Our web forms, all our web forms are integrated into back-end systems. We realised quite early on that a web form that just went into an email queue was just a case of saying someone else can do the work. And then customers still phoned because it didn't get processed for a few days. So our web forms are integrated, and that's risen by about 75% over the last couple of years. Again, give you an idea of numbers, that's about 25,000 integrated web forms every month. So the next stage was about actually building something. Once we understood who our customers were, we needed to be in a position that we could build something that worked. So I was talking to Louise at Hillingdon this morning, and I know the web team have just come under her, but you know, to me, it's the obvious starting point. If you want to be able to control what goes on, take control of the website. You know, a council website should not be about what the mayor is doing. It should not be about, so even in the Royal Borough, I'm sure that the website should not be about the wonderful things your politicians are going to do. You know, if you're serious about channel shift, take control of the website and make it transactional. I'm a great believer that people do not want to spend time interacting with their council. To me, a good council is like a good referee. You know, they go and do their job very comfortably in the background with nobody noticing. You know, we were very good at Harrow, sort of 5 years ago, ensuring people had to contact us. You know, if you wanted a parking permit in Harrow, we made you come to talk to us at the Civic Centre. And we wanted proof of address. Although we would accept proof of address, the letter that we sent you to say, come and get your parking permit. But we made you bring it in. So, residents do not want to come and spend their holiday or their time coming to talk to us. So, you know, there is an audience. There are people out there who will transact online. The next thing we found quite important was actually sorting out the LLPG. I took over the web team at Harrow 5-6 years ago, and I was given this guy called Luke, really nice guy. He ran the LLPG. I spent the first 3 months trying to dump him on another department because, let's be honest, the LLPG is probably one of the most boring subjects you will ever talk about. It's, you know, finding properties, giving them a number, sticking them on a system. How dull can it get? But actually what we learned quite quickly is probably what Luke always calls the logical glue. It joins all our systems together. So if you're going to start integrating the front end to the back end, you need to ensure that Mr. Jones, who lives at 1 High Street on your council tax system, is the same Mr. Jones who lives at 1 the High Street on the council tax benefit system, is the same Mr. Jones who lives at 1 the High Street on the planning system, and is the same Mr. Jones who is on your My Harrow account and in your CRM system. Because in local authorities, it's properties that generally join us all together. And if you want to be serious about knowing who you're speaking to, knowing you've got the right person at the right address, and that formula is the same for every single system, is key. It was some guys from 4OC here, so Mr. Murray, give us a wave. So Paul worked for a different organisation when I met him. And when I ran the call centre at Harrow, this was one of the things I hated. So those of you who work in district or run the bin crews, you might recognise it. So what we used to do, we have a three bin system in Harrow. We give our residents a bin for garden waste, we give them a bin for recyclables, and we give them a bin for domestic waste. But we're quite serious about recycling, so if you put the wrong thing in the wrong bin, we don't collect it. So what we used to do was we'd give the crews, namely the driver, would have this sheet of paper on his steering column, and if someone had contaminated their bin, they would make a note of it on this sheet. So, you know, your driver in a big thick glove trying to write on a steering column, quite amazed how neat that is. And once they'd completed their round, about sort of 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, these would get faxed through to the call centre. So, because at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when your residents contact you to say their bin has been missed, right? No, 2 minutes past 9 o'clock, when the bin lorry's just gone down the road, that's when the residents phone you up to say, you didn't collect my bin. But because we didn't know why, we used to have little bingo cards we give the staff to say, here's some different reasons why we might not have collected somebody's bins. You put a paper bag in there, you put something in there you shouldn't have done, you didn't put it out on time, you put the wrong bin out, it's not your bin collection day. And we've sort of got going backwards and forwards with these residents to say, this is probably why we didn't collect your bin, but if you want to phone us back at 3 o'clock, we'll tell you for certain. So what happened was we used to have this huge demand in the morning, and we couldn't cope with it because the call lengths were really long. And then we'd get the same people phoning us up in the afternoon to find out exactly why we didn't go and collect their bin. And the sensible ones probably realised if it was contaminated, they'd run out, take it out of their bag and swear blind that nothing had changed. So what we did was we connected our customer services team. So I'm really sorry because I know there's a lot of technical stuff that sits behind this. Like Jackie, I'm not overly technical. So basically we joined our call centre with the crews and they type into a nice little gadget box that sits in the in the dust carts to say we did or didn't collect this bin, and if we didn't, this is the reason why. And that information was sent to us in real time in the call centre. So actually when the customer phoned us at 2 minutes past 9, we could say straight away, actually we didn't collect your bin, Mr. Jones, because it was contaminated with a plastic bag. So it took a lot of the pain out, but That next step was about making sure that residents who wanted to transact online got exactly the same service. So when people go onto our website to report they've got a missed bin, it asks them the same couple of questions our call centre would, and if their bin was contaminated, it just pushes out the information to say, sorry, we didn't collect your bin today because you put a plastic bag in there and you know you shouldn't have, and then we'll give them what their options are. But again, it just starts, those integrated forms, something happens at the end of it. It didn't just create a PDF that went and sat somewhere in a back office that someone would check and then phone later. You know, there's an immediate response to a web form coming in. And I suppose you can do so much with web forms. We don't really care who phones us about fly tipping or missed bins because it's not particularly sensitive. But there comes a point where actually you want to, so this is going to sound quite seedy, where we want to take that relationship to a next level. And actually, I'm trying to think why my wife married me if I started talking about authenticating who she was. But, you know, well, the point we know who we're talking to online and we start authenticating with people, then actually we can start sharing a whole load more information with them. So again, through the MyHarrow account, because we have a system that starts off online and similar to a PIN code with a bank, we just send a second half to their address and they join the two bits up. They can start transacting online. We can start showing all that valuable information around council tax, around benefits, around adult social care. We can start doing parking permits, housing rents, and even school admissions. We start changing that relationship with our customers because we know who we're talking to. And again, because it's location-based, we can start sharing information on a more personal, a more location-based basis as well. So planning applications near you, when your bin collection will be, any licence applications. We always put councillors in there because it makes them feel special. And then actually taking it to that level around Amazon is we can start pushing information out. So it started off about us having that information ready for residents to contact us about why their bin wasn't collected. The next stage was saying, well, actually, if you complete an online form, we'll tell you. But actually, if we're sitting on it, why don't we just push it out to residents? Amazon constantly sends me information to say, great, we've got your order, it's being processed, it's being delivered today. So, you know, again, we started to integrate not just the I want my school to go to this, my child to go to this school, sort of in year and the big ones that happen throughout the year, but also, you know, what we found in the call centre, what caused us misery was parents who don't get their child's first choice school. So I'm sure those of you who work for county councils, you deal with school admissions, you know, boy, do parents love to phone us when their child doesn't get their first school. And something you find out as when you work in a call centre is parents obviously feel the more often they contact you, that actually we'll push them up the, you know, we'll push them up the waiting list. And in fact, they might want to call us 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day to check where their child is on the waiting list because we might push them up. We all know it doesn't work that way. So what we did through the account was we do an overnight run, so now parents have to look on their online account to see where their child is in the admission queue. So for all the schools they list, it tells them where they are in the queue. Number of calls we dealt with in March around where's my child in the queue? None. Big fat zero, all done online. We closed the telephone lines. Similar council tax. We like to start our relationship with new residents online. So we don't, even when people phone us, we'll start to say, right, okay, let's see if we can do this online for. Have you got a computer? Have you got a tablet? We get people to register for council tax online. And the first part of doing that is opening an online account. We don't want new residents to get used to phoning us up to say whatever is going on. We want them to start looking online as the first point of call. And over the last 12 months, we've pushed a greater and greater percentage of moves into the MyHarrow account. And it's great, because it's an integrated form, it doesn't just take the details, it pushes the information into the back office system. It sends out the bill automatically without any back office intervention. And because it's clever, because it's an intelligent form, it doesn't just stop at council tax. You know, there's nothing more frustrating for when someone moves to say, you know, they phone up to tell us about council tax, but then they're told they have to phone up somebody else for their parking permit. They have to phone somebody else because they're thinking about building an extension, so they want to talk to someone in planning. It all needs to be joined up. So, and that's the same way it works with our moves form. It starts pushing information out to the electoral register. It pushes information out to school admissions if they want to give us their children's details. It pushes information directly to the parking team. So again, not only does this start to take effort out of the front office, it starts to take effort out of the back office as well. And again, just trying to join where we can start pulling that information together is when people go onto the environmental homepage, not only will they be able to see incidents that have happened in their area, actually we'll just start saying, do you know what, we collected your bin this morning. You know, you probably know it because you would have phoned us, but we'll give you a little tick to say your bin was collected today. And by the way, if you're phoning us up about this fly tip, you can see by the map below that we've already been told about it. And if you click on one of the tabs, you'll be able to see you know, what stage it's at when we're going to collect it. The Your Reports bit is if you've reported the fly tip, you can go on there, and again, like Amazon, we'll tell you what the progress is, because we don't want to speak to you over the phone. We know that you're interested to know when it's going to be picked up, so there you go, the information's there and readily available for you to look at online. It's about taking the money out. You know, we're certainly not in a position at Harrow where we can talk about efficiency savings. Money comes out of our budget. If I don't have the technology and the changes in behaviour, the money's still coming out of my budget because I'm losing 60% over a 4-year period. Over the last three and a half years, we've taken £1.7 million out. That's a lot of staff. The bulk of my budget is made up of staff. They're not there to answer the phones anymore. We've had to change the way we operate with our residents. But again, because those forms are integrated in the back, actually the budget savings don't stop there. They start pulling information, they start pushing information into back-end systems, they start automating processes. So we've been able to take money out of the back office as well. The 800,000, honestly, I believe it's double that. 800,000 is what the back office tell me they've saved. I'm sure they hide some of that away for a rainy day themselves. And even things like post and printing, when you start sharing council tax bills online, when you start pushing your housing benefits process online, you don't need to be so reliant on sending information out in the post. So you start making big savings in print and post. See, at Harrow, I think we are taking that step towards the Amazon model. You know, the big thing for us now is about joining the two together. With, you know, when you log on to Amazon, it's a single website. At the moment, we still have harrow.gov.uk and the My Harrow account. So our next stage is about actually how do we make that a single process? How do we ensure that when, you know, people log on to our website, they very much get a personal feel, and actually the point they log in, we can just start to share more information with them. So actually if they go onto the council tax page, it will automatically start to display, this is when your next council tax payment will be taken, this is your balance. Actually click on this PDF and we'll share your council tax bill with you. And I've just put it at the bottom because it does do a lot of work. You know, a lot of us in customer service, we spend a fortune on our telephone systems, but actually all we build it for is to ensure that we've got staff to be able to take the calls. You know, using the IVR effectively, you can really take the sting out of a lot of the calls that come in. I say at Harrow, through payments and through putting simple messages up there in terms of where we are with benefits processing, with planning applications, you know, it just stops people having to contact you. And again, as I think I mentioned earlier, it takes about 35,000 calls a month out of the call centre for us. But actually the IT is probably the simple stuff. You know, the real work comes in trying to migrate people, to try and change people's behaviour, staff as well as residents, but actually making sure that they work with us in a different way. The first thing we did was what I mentioned earlier about trying to join it up. Customers do not want to be customers do not care that we are a siloed organisation. And regardless of how we try and sell our authority, we are all siloed organisation. We do not talk to each other very effectively. Quite rightly, residents do not care, and they shouldn't have to. It's our job to pull it all together. One of the big things we did over the year was change our face-to-face service. We used to have 26 desks in our one-stop shop. We offered a service where it was a drop-in service. That started to change 2 years ago. We made it appointment only. And because then we understood what people were coming into appointments for, we said, do you know what, we're not going to talk to you about that, do it online. The orange carpet was to try and drag people automatically into our, it was what we called the yellow brick road moment. It was psychologically to take people away from the reception desk to come straight into the self-serve area. You know, a bit like Apple, we try to support that area, so we'll have a couple of staff who will help people transact online. They won't do the work for them, but they'll show them where to find the forms and they will help answer any questions they have. 10 years ago. You know, there's nobody there to take payments. It's all done through those wonderful 2 kiosks. And even if you do have an appointment, you don't talk to reception. You go to the little kiosk on the left. You know, over the 2 years, we've gone from 26 desks to 4. And actually in the next 6 months that'll go down to 2, and by next April we will have no face-to-face service in the Civic or in our sites. It will be online only. If we do need to see somebody with a bit more personal issue, we'll just take them to one side into an interview room, but we will not offer a face-to-face service. Best resource we had to sell our online account and digital services, our staff, by a long shot. We motivate them. It's amazing what you said we're selling was it go round, get your ticket stamped and we'll put you in a raffle for an iPad Air. We do a similar thing for our staff. Every quarter we'll run a competition for the amount of staff that, you know, push more customers online. It costs us £400 or £500 a quarter to buy an iPad. Best money we ever spend. You know, it's great what staff will do to have that sort of recognition and to get a good prize. Again, we've tried out lots of different things, marketing. We've created a lot of posters in-house, just working with our comms team. We've stuck the posters on bus shelters. Cost us about £200 for a month. You know, we have a lot of posters out in our one-stop shop, in the libraries. We had a little trial with fridge magnets. If anybody wants some Harrow Council fridge magnets, we've probably got a couple of thousand left. But you know, just trying different things just to get the you know, the message out there that, you know, if you want to engage with Harrow Council, you do it through a digital process. And actually, we've had to make some very tough decisions. You know, we were a call centre that answered the phone very, very quickly. Actually, if you phone BT, if you phone up, you know, a lot of private sector organisations, they don't make it easy for you to contact them on the phone. If you contact Sky, if you contact your water organisation, you know, there's a sense of, if you do it online, it will be a lot quicker for you. So we took some tough decisions. We started increasing wait times in our call centre. You know, some of it was uncomfortable. Sometimes we had complaints, but do you know what? It helps shift people move online. And actually, we've taken some much tougher decisions there. We've started to close channels. If you want to talk to us about a parking ticket, we're not going to talk to you. It's there all online. What we found, 99% of people who wanted to talk to someone about a parking ticket, really they wanted to vent their anger at our staff, shout, swear. They had no valid reason to appeal, so they had to pay anyway. Do you know what? We left a little box at the end of our online process. If you want to call us all those words, and they do, you can type a few boxes, tell us what you think of us, and we'll just ditch it as it comes in. But you're not going to talk to us about it anymore. We don't talk to our landlords anymore. Again, through the account, we gave them all their information. We gave them access to all their tenants. They had information to all their payments. It was a lot easier for them. We don't talk to landlords anymore. School admissions, online only process. Payments, online only process. Accounts payable, online. We worked with a company called EGS. You know, people now, if they want to engage with the council, they do so through the portal. We're not going to go through a paper process. And actually, in terms of actual a channel, we actually closed our council tax email box in January. And we were dealing with about 10 to 12,000 emails a month. We hate email at Harrow. It's completely unstructured, took up a lot of time. So we ensured that we had all those processes available online. You know, you can't find our council tax telephone number online, because if you're online, we believe you can do it online. Actually, we used to promote our email address. We've taken it off, sorry. We've had a couple of complaints, but in terms of what it saved us, we'll live. We'll live with the fact that I have to phone up a few people and explain to them, well, if you was on our website anyway, why on earth are you trying to phone us or send us an email? Just do it online. So anyway, thank you for your time. And